And back with us to talk more about this and also going to talk about Iraq in a second is Bernard Kerik, the former police commissioner of New York. And Bernie, we wanted to ask one more question about Ferguson as we wait for that grand jury report before we get to Iraq. And that is, we've heard a lot about the National Guard being activated, the governor of Missouri, Jay Nixon, putting certain things into place, the FBI supposedly being involved somehow, the president leaving the door open to maybe visiting there. What do you think about the response thus far, kind of sending a message to the folks in Ferguson that they have this under control? Or trying to anyway.
Well, I think it's really up to the governor and the state police to, ensure there's safety and security. The first couple days of this thing did not go well for them. I think the governor is trying to be proactive and preemptive. He has the right to call in the National Guard if he deems necessary, if he thinks the local and state authorities can't handle it. And hopefully that won't be the case.
Are these the same types of moves you would have made if you were in his shoes?
Well, I don't have all the information he does, but I think he's doing the right thing. He has to be prepared for the worst and hope for the best.
All right, fair enough. Well, let's move on and talk about Iraq a little bit. Of course, we heard about more fighting over the weekend, a fierce battle between ISIS militants and the Iraqi military and tribal forces close to the main government complex in the center of Ramadi, a capital city there in one of the provinces. We're told that the battle is happening about 1,000 feet from that complex. It houses regional and government security forces. Let's talk about the strategic importance of what's taking place right now and the ability of the Iraqi military to perhaps regain and capture control of Ramadi.
Well, I think first and foremost, I think it's extremely important that we stay as involved as we possibly can to give these guys the confidence they need to do what they have to do. And I think that's a big problem here. The Iraqi national security forces, they don't have confidence. They've lost a number of battles. They've come close to losing their entire country. And I think at this point, the Americans, I think the president's move to send people in, this 1,500 soldiers over the last several weeks, the advisors, I think that was a good move. Maybe more to come, but I think we have to stay as active as possible to give these guys the confidence they need to do what they have to do.
Well, I've just been handed a report and a couple things that were in the New York Times today, this being another thing I want to talk to you too, and that is that Hagel is said to be stepping down as defense chief under pressure, just handed to me a few moments ago. Bernard, this is obviously a big deal here, and I wanted to get your response to this report from the New York Times does turn out to be true.
Well, that's the first I've heard of it. It's going to be interesting to see who moves up into that spot. The bottom line is, though, John, the military commanders on the ground know what they're doing. These are the guys we should be listening to. These are the guys we should be following. The Secretary of Defense is one of the most important positions in this country, but we have some phenomenal people in the leadership in the military right now. Ray Odierno and some of the others. I think we'll be okay, but it'll be interesting to see who they replace Nagel with.
Yeah, Ray Odierno's name comes up for a lot of these jobs. Also, a guy talked about when they were looking for somebody to run the VA Medical Center as well. Obviously, a guy who has a lot of respect, and apparently this announcement is going to come later today in a Rose Garden appearance at the White House. President Obama expected to announce the resignation of Chuck Hagel as his defense chief. We'll see what follows from that. But I also want to talk about another article that was in the New York Times today with you, Bernard Kerik, and the headline is Graft Hobbles Iraq's Military Fighting ISIS. One Iraqi general is known as the chicken guy because of his reputation for selling his soldiers poultry provisions. Another guy, Iraq guy, for his habit of enjoying anise-flavored liquor on the job. Another guy is called General Deftar for his infamous selling of officer commissions. This is some of the stuff that takes place in the Iraqi military. Corruption is what the article alleges. Is there any possible way that we can really have a real partner with the Iraqi military when this type of corruption, and you've seen it in the Iraqi military, is so pervasive?
You know what, John? One of the biggest problems we have, whether it's Iraq, Afghanistan, and other places around the world, are these kind of corruption issues. And we have to try to lead by example in those areas. You're going to have these problems. It's a different mindset, a different culture. They operate very differently in these other countries. They don't have the same oversights, the same
And
you
it
know,
is what they are
inspector
trying
generals,
to.
the same inquiries and investigations.
It is definitely a different
it's difficult
situation,
to,
Bernie. We'll have to
deal
leave
with
it
that.
there. And what the Obama administration is trying to navigate right now, trying to bolster the Iraqi military. Bernard Kerik, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks, John.
All right, Grover Norquist is back with us. We're going to talk about some of these issues, how the GOP can stop President Obama after this.